Round one of the 2025 MLB Draft has come and gone, and now it's time to give out some grades. So welcome in to this edition of Chat Sports. I am your host, Jack, and today we are giving grades for all MLB teams after round one of the 2025 MLB Draft. We saw a lot of surprises in the top five, and we saw some really awesome value picks later in the first round. We're going to start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. B-, great. I liked what they did in the back half with their compensatory pick, taking Patrick Forbes, the pitcher out of Louisville. But I was a little bit curious, and still am kind of curious, on the pick of Kason Cunningham, the shortstop prep prospect. I am questioning where he fits in the roster, especially with Jordan Lawler. I think that they might view him as the Ketel Marte replacement in the future. He is still a high school prospect. There's a lot of, potential that he has, but there is a lot of development that's going to need to be done. Patrick Forbes, like the pick. That's why at the end of the day, it is a B+. The Atlanta Braves get a C. They take Tate Southson, the shortstop out of Basic High School in Nevada. I feel like this was a bit of a reach. I think that there were better shortstop prospects available at the time. And for that reason, the Atlanta Braves are going to get a C grade, in my opinion. The Baltimore Orioles get an A-. I absolutely love what they did in the first round of this draft. They take Ike Irish, the catcher/utility position player out of Alabama, Caden Bodine, the catcher out of Coastal Carolina. They take Vea Aloy, the shortstop out of Arkansas, Golden Spikes winner from this past year, and Slater DeBrun, the outfielder from Summit High School in Oregon. I think that Aloy is excellent value. He was the 17th ranked player. They got him at 31. Ike Irish is probably one of the best picks of the night. He was projected in the top 15. They get him at 19. I think that Ike Irish has the potential to be a superstar in Major League Baseball. And I think with the, 4 picks that they had in round one, the Orioles get an A grade, in my opinion. The Boston Red Sox get a B-. See, it's not rigged like y'all think it is. They take Kyson Witherspoon, with the number 15 pick overall, the pitcher out of Oklahoma. And they take Marcus Phillips, the pitcher out of Tennessee, at 33 overall. I love the Kyson Witherspoon pick. I think that he is an absolute steal that fell into the Red Sox lap. He was projected to go in the top 10. They get him at 15. The Marcus Phillips deal, I do think, is a little bit of an overpay, a little bit of a reach. I think that he's got interesting stuff, but he's going to take a little bit of development. I trust Craig Breslow and Andrew Bailey to develop these pitchers, but I'm not sold on Marcus Phillips being a complete win, and I did think at the end of the day it was a little bit of a reach. That's why the Red Sox get a B- from me. The Chicago White Sox get an A-. They take Billy Carlson, the Corona High School shortstop. I think that he is an excellent prospect for the White Sox. I think that there were shortstops that were taken before him that I graded worse, and for him to just fall in the lap of the White Sox and for the White Sox to not overthink it, they get an A- grade for me in round one. Shout out your favorite team for me. I want to hear what everyone's favorite team is. Of course, my favorite team is the Boston Red Sox, and yeah, they had a B- draft in my opinion. So let me know. Shout out your favorite team down below in the comments. I want to hear what you all are rocking with. Rep your team, and we'll see who has the most rabid fan base in baseball. The Chicago Cubs get a B. They drafted Ethan Conrad, the outfielder out of Wake Forest. Fine. I think it might have been a bit of a reach. He was projected by MLB Pipeline as a 28th ranked player. They get him at 17. This is kind of a case of, I think there were better prospects out there that they could have gone for. But if he fixes some of the tools that need development, he could be an elite outfielder with Pete Carl Armstrong in the future. We just need to see that happen. And as of late, there are concerns that make this a B grade at the end of the day. The Cincinnati Reds, get a C-. They take Steele Hall, shortstop out of Hewitt-Trussville High School in Alabama. I think this was a reach. People are more bullish on Steele Hall than I am. I had other prospects ranked ahead of him that I think the Reds should have taken. I also thought they should probably look at a starting pitcher, and they let Case and Witherspoon fall to the Red Sox at 15. There were potential picks that I would have liked much more than Steele Hall. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to be shortstop, obviously, because Ellie De La Cruz is the shortstop of their long future. But for a C-, it is what it is. The Cleveland Guardians get a C. They take Jace Lavalette with the 20th pick in the draft. I am not a fan of Jace. I think that his hit tool is atrocious. I think he has a lot he has to improve on. And if the Guardians were wanting him to play right away, which I don't think they do, I think they know that it's going to take a little bit of development. But if they did, I would not like this pick at all. I think there's a lot of risk, and I don't know how much reward you're going to get for that pick. The Rockies get an A. They didn't overthink it. They did what they needed to do, and they took Ethan Holliday, who was ranked as the number 1 prospect in this draft at number 4. That's really all I have to say. There are things Holliday needs to improve on. He's also a high schooler. There's going to be plenty of time to develop. If he works out, if he plays to the level that we think he can, he could be a bona fide superstar in this league. He needs to do it, though. And as of late, there are some concerns. But you did what you needed to do. You brought in Matt Holliday's son, and if he works out, we could be looking back saying, wow, how did he fall to number 4? The Detroit Tigers get an F grade. Jordan Yost, the prep shortstop, goes number 24 overall. Not a fan of his game. I think he's got a lot he has to improve. And then they go Michael Oviedo, catcher, prep catcher, at number 34. I did not even have scouting notes for him. He was not in our database. He was ranked by MLB Pipeline 219th. There were plenty of catcher prospects that were way better than this kid. And I don't want to crap on the kid because I'm sure he's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. But taking him in the first round, that's an F grade, guys. It's just not good. The Houston Astros get a B+. Xavier Nines is the pick at number 25. Shortstop that I think could play anywhere in the infield. He's got the potential to be a key contributor for the Astros going forward. The Astros, I don't think, are ever going to fully rebuild because they draft well and they develop well. So if you get him in with this development team in Houston and he can fix some of the pieces of development that he needs to fix, I think he could be a really solid prospect that, again, kind of like Ethan Holliday, people are going to be like, how did we let him fall to 25? We got more grades coming up in a second, but first, what was the best pick of round 1? We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. We have not gotten to what I think is my favorite pick of the night yet, but I talked about Ike Irish going to the Baltimore Orioles. I really like that pick. So you let me know, what was the best pick of round 1? Let me know in the comments down below. The Kansas City Royals get a C+. Sean Gamble was their pick at number 27. Or was it number 20? It was number 23. Excuse me. It was number 23. The pick at number 23 from IMG Academy outfielder. I like his game. I think he's going to need some development, but I think he's got a high upside, and that was a good pick. Josh Hammond, on the other hand, who went number 28, he's pretty raw. He's also a shortstop, and you have Bobby Witt Jr. Now, obviously, he's going to need some years of development. I just, at the end of the day, not a big fan of the Josh Hammond pick. I think it was probably a little bit of a reach. I did not have him as highly graded as some of the other shortstop prospects. And for that reason, you had one good pick, one iffy pick. So that is why the Royals get a C+. The Dodgers get a D-. I'm not going to give it an F. They take Tyler Brenmer with the number 2 overall pick. You had a softball layup for Kade Anderson, who would be ready to pitch next year. But instead they go Tyler Bremner out of UC Santa Barbara. I don't know what they see in him. He's not bad, but if you wanted a instant impact starter next year, Kade Anderson was the clear favorites. And that was the only pick they had in the first round, and it was at number 2 overall. So even if you're not going to go Kade Anderson, Ethan Holliday's there. There's plenty of other tantalizing prospects. Bremer was ranked 18th on MLB Pipeline, and he went number 2. Yeah, for that reason, I'm out. D-. The Dodgers, on the other hand, get an A-. They didn't pick until pick number 40, but what they got was awesome value. They get Zachary Root, the pitcher from Arkansas, at number 40. I think he's got a really high upside. I think he's a very safe pick for the Dodgers and someone that I think can probably contribute next year if they really needed him to. And then they got Charles Davelin. They go back-to-back, 40-41. Charles Davelin, the outfield out of Arkansas, he was ranked 54th on MLB Pipeline. I disagree. He's one of my favorite prospects in this entire draft. I think he's one of the most underrated prospects in this entire draft. And the Dodgers get an absolute dog, who I am a really big fan of. So the Dodgers, although they didn't pick until compensatory rounds, get an A- for this draft. The Marlins get an A. I loved what the Marlins did in the first round of this draft. They take Ava Arquette with the number 7 pick, shortstop out of Oregon State, the best shortstop prospect in this entire class, and someone that's going to contribute for years to come. And then in the compensatory rounds, they take Cam Canarella, the outfielder out of Clemson. I think he's got some refinement that's going to be needed. I think he's going to have some development that's going to be needed. But I think that if he hits his potential, he could be a very solid prospect for the Miami Marlins. The Marlins, when you need everything as your need, it's hard to miss. But as we saw with the Angels and we saw with the Nationals, it's possible to miss. And the Marlins didn't do that. Not only were we live for the MLB Draft, we will also be live for the MLB Trade Deadline. Don't miss out. MLB news, rumors, trades, draft, free agency, and more we have here at Chat Sports. And not just that, we also have NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball. We also do some WNBA. It's called Chat Sports for a reason. So if you love sports, all different sports, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the family today, and remember, we're going to be live for the 2025 MLB Trade Deadline at the end of the month. So don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join us today. The Milwaukee Brewers get a C+. They took Andrew Fisher, the third baseman from Tennessee, with the number 20 pick, and then Brady Ebel, the shortstop from Corona, at 32. I'm okay with the Fisher pick. I don't love it. I don't hate it. The Brady Ebel pick, I'm a little lukewarm on. I think there were other prospects that were better in that area. So I do think that that was a bit of a reach. He was ranked 64th in the MLB Pipeline. They get him at 32. I think that was a bit of a reach. I think there were other prospects that were probably better. So that is why the Milwaukee Brewers get a C+. The Minnesota Twins get an A. This is one of my favorite drafts of the entire first round. You take Merrick Houston, shortstop out of Wake Forest, at 16. You take Riley Quick, pitcher out of Alabama, at 36. I love both of those picks. Merrick Houston is one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft. I'm very bullish on him and his play. And Riley Quick is an incredibly solid pitcher out of Alabama. I think that they absolutely crushed the first round and got some really solid contributors for years to come. The New York Mets, B-. They get Mitch Voigt out of Michigan, go blue, who I think is probably a little underrated. On MLB Pipeline, he's rated 63. They got him at the 38 overall pick, but I actually really like his stuff. If he can reach his potential, I think his ceiling is sky high. And for that reason, that is why the Mets, in my opinion, even with one pick in the draft, get a B-. The New York Yankees get a B. Dax Kilby, the prep shortstop prospect, another underrated prospect, 62 on MLB Pipeline. They got him at 39. I think that with some development, Again, he's a high schooler. With development, he could turn into a very solid infielder for this Yankees squad. Obviously, you've got Anthony Volpe right now, who Yankee fans want gone, but I think that Kilby has the potential to be a contributor for years to come. He's going to need some years of development. He was a high schooler, but that's baseball. Baseball, sometimes these prospects take years. And so for the Yankees, it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the near future. The Athletics get a B+. I am a big fan of the Jamie Arnold trade. I think they got really good value. He is not nearly the best pitching prospect in this class. So there is some refinement that'll be needed, but he could pitch for you next year. I think he's one of the safer prospects. I think they probably could have taken a risk, and they didn't. And so overall, a B+ is a good grade. I had no issues with them taking Jamie Arnold, and I think that he ended up being kind of a steal of the draft overall. The Philadelphia Phillies get an A-. Now, what was really a steal was the Phillies drafting Gage Wood, pitcher out of Arkansas. I think his stuff is very impressive. He can contribute pretty quickly as well. Probably need a little bit of refinement, but I think, late next year, early 2027, I think he could be an impact starter for the Philadelphia Phillies. They get him at number 26 overall, and for that reason, they get an A- on the day. My favorite pick of the night is going to have to be Seth Hernandez, the pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think the Pirates absolutely killed this draft. Corona High School pitcher. He was ranked number 3. They got him at number 6. He's a prep pitcher. He's going to need some refinement. He's going to need some development, but I trust the pitching lab of the Pirates to develop him into an absolute stud. Think of this rotation for me real quick. Just think of this, okay? Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, Bubba Chandler, Seth Hernandez. I mean, if that isn't the best rotation in baseball, you're the Seattle Mariners. But at the end of the day, I think they got a steal. They got incredible value, and I love this pick for the Pittsburgh Pirates. One of, I believe, 2 A+ on the day. We'll talk about the second A+ here in a minute. San Diego Padres is C+. I'm my man Xavier, who is our executive producer tonight. Grade this one because he is a Padres fan. Cruz Schoolcraft is fine. Okay value, but is not going to be a world beater. The Sunset High School prep pitcher is okay. He's going to need a lot of development. He's going to need a lot of refinement. And with other prospects on the board that were probably better, I'm not that big of a fan of this pick. A pick I am a fan of is Gavin Keelan to the San Francisco Giants. I give that an A-. I wanted him to go to the Red Sox really, really bad. I'm actually happy that he didn't because Kyson Witherspoon fell into their lap. But you get a very dynamic shortstop from Tennessee who is very underrated, a player that I was very bullish on, and you steal something from the Red Sox once again. Great pick for the Giants. They did what they needed to do in the first round and got a really solid potential player for the future. The second A+ is the Seattle Mariners. They absolutely killed the first round of this draft. You get Kade Anderson at 3. He was my number 1 overall prospect. He falls to you at 3. You don't overthink it. You take him. And then you take Luke Stevenson, the catcher from North Carolina, at 35. A pick after the Tigers took whoever that other catcher was. The Mariners got 2 incredible prospects in the right slots and are going to walk away from this draft as some of the biggest winners, in my opinion. St. Louis Cardinals get a B+. Liam Doyle. I like Liam Doyle, but there's a lot of concern. When he's on, he's the best pitcher in baseball. When he's off, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. If you can refine him, kind of like the Red Sox did with Aroldis Chapman this year, then this grade goes up. I like the pick, but the concern is big. So for that reason, the Cardinals get a B+. Tampa Bay Rays get a B- on the day. They take Daniel Pierce, shortstop from Mill Creek High School in Georgia, and Brennan Summerhill out of the University of Arizona, outfielder. I love the Brennan Summerhill pick. I think it's excellent value. You get him at the 42nd overall pick. He was ranked 16 on MLB Pipeline. It's the best value of the entire draft. Daniel Pierce, I'm not the biggest fan of that pick. I think there were other prospects that the Rays probably could have gone after that would have probably been better, but the Summerhill pick at 42 saved the first round for them, and that ended up being one of my favorite picks of the entire draft. The Texas Rangers get a C+. They took Gavin Feen. I like Feen, but he's not my favorite. I do think it was a little bit of a reach. I think there were other shortstop prospects that were probably better, but if you can get the most out of him, if you can get him at his ceiling, he actually could be a really solid contributor for the Rangers for years to come. He needs to do it, and if he doesn't, then that's why the C+ grade is here, because there's a lot of projection that we just don't know yet. So the Rangers get a C+. The Blue Jays get a B-. I'm going to go through this one quick. They took JoJo Parker. Not a reach. He was ranked number 9. They get him at number 8. There's a lot of questions on where he's going to play, but high schooler, so that's a few year issue down the line. So B- is perfectly fine. He's got very intriguing traits, so we'll see where he ends up. The Washington Nationals get a C+ to end out the video. They take Eli Willits, number 1 overall. I think it had to do with price. I would assume. I thought Kade Anderson was the most obvious pick. You don't really need another shortstop. They've already got young infielders. But he's still a talented prospect. He's got a lot of good traits about him. I just was a little bit confused as to why they took him over an Ethan Holliday or a Kade Anderson or somebody else. So that was the biggest head scratcher of the night other than the Los Angeles Angels. But if Eli Willits turns out to be really good, I'll eat crow a few years down the line. Before we get out of here, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you can, follow me on Twitter. Help me get to 1,000 followers. I just got over 900. We are 100 followers away. If you follow me at Jack Lautaret, you're going to get MLB content every single day. I am Chat Sports' main MLB analyst. So if you want to reach out to me, you want to ask me questions, or you just want to talk ball, hit me up on Twitter at Jack Lautaret. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. The draft is always very fun because it's fun to see where all of these prospects are going to go. But until next time, see you later.